Hey everybody, so the second thing I wanted to talk about is something to do with free speech as well as Charlie Hebdo. Um, More recently, a big news story that came out was about Charlie Hebdo, the hashtag Je suis Charlie, and the idea of free speech. Now, free speech has become kind of a hot button topic as to how countries decide to pursue free speech, what countries allow free speech, what kind of free speech should be protected, what kind of free speech should be given chances to do different things, and what will happen. The big thing that I wanted to talk about was recently South Korea has been in the news slightly because of certain issues with the idea of free speech. The first issue has actually happened with a Japanese reporter. His name is Tatsuya Kato, and he was a bureau chief here in Seoul of a Japanese newspaper. Um, a while ago, during the late spring and summertime, a ferry collapsed here in South Korea, and it was a really big situation that caused a lot of people frustration, a lot of people anger towards the government, and a lot of different things. Tatsuya Kato decided to write a report as to why President Park Geun-hye was actually not present and not dealing with the crisis immediately when it happened, but only really started to with the government quite a few hours later. I'm not going to repeat word for word what he said, but basically it was deemed defamation because it was stated that she was with a man. She was not at her job. She was not anything. At the same time, his story is not particular because actually other individuals, especially South Korean reporters, actually reported about the fact that she was missing and not paying attention to the crisis. But those individuals were actually never charged with defamation, though they stated quite a lot of the same facts. A lot of people have started to wonder if this is simply about the fact that Tatsuya Kato is Japanese. Japan and Korea have a hard relationship. South Koreans are not very happy with Japan because of the issues of them invading during World War II and taking over, and other different invasions that have happened, and also due to a small group of islands called Dokdo. It's pretty much 2 to 3 small atolls. No one lives on them. Japan says they have control, that this is within Japanese waters. Those are Japanese islands. South Korea says no. And I'm using the Japanese name because that's the one I know. I don't know the Japanese name. South Korea says, no, we've had that land for quite a long time before you ever showed up. So that's ours. We have that. So it's kind of each country is rubbing each other the wrong way. And so what was stated was that basically Tatsuya Kato was indicted. He is charged with a crime. He is charged with defamation. And if convicted, he faces possibly up to 7 years in prison. A lot of people have started to wonder if this is really not necessarily about what was written, but more to the fact that he was Japanese, and if this is a racially motivated situation. The second issue has actually come up was that there was a Korean American named Shin In-mi who has spoken out quite a lot and was actually lucky enough to travel to North Korea. She has photographed the North, she has met the people, she has experienced the regular culture with them, and during some of her talks she expressed what she learned and what she saw up there, and while not being overly yay pro-North, she would mention that, I've tasted North Korean beer. North Korean beer tastes good, and, the rivers in North Korea are actually pretty clean. But there is a law on the books here called the National Security Law. It seems to be a very loose law in the idea that if the government deems something against the benefit of the country of South Korea, that they are allowed to indict somebody for failing to follow the national security law. by doing this, you can put somebody in jail, you can do whatever. Shin Mi was actually deported. She was sent back to Los Angeles. She is a California resident and has been told that she may not return to South Korea, whether her family is here or not, for 5 years. She's not allowed to visit this country. She is not allowed to come here. She is not allowed to work here. She is not allowed in the country. If she comes to Incheon Airport, she will be stopped. If she attempts to get on a plane in LA to come back and they know it is her, she will be stopped. She cannot come. And so people are questioning the South Korean government if this is them kind of limiting what people can write, what people can read, what kind of information is going on. Also, the president has the ability to enact this law, and so if she deems something, defaming, something improper, something anything, the government is allowed to say, oh, well, you're breaking the national security law. You can't write that. You can't do that. And they will pressure the person to stop writing if they're South Korean, or they will use other tactics such as the indictment to Keito or deportation to stop that person from speaking about those issues or speaking about their opinions that may be different from the opinions of the government and the president herself. This wound up, the indictment of Tatsuya Keito actually brought up the point where Undersecretary of Commerce of the United States actually recorded a statement towards South Korean citizens and towards the government expressing that this is a very dangerous situation, and actually the UN is launching a probe into South Korea's treatment of foreigners in all work areas, as well as just culturally how they enact. At the same time, there is a push and pull. South Korea has progressed a lot since the Korean War. They have moved at light speed to get to the point where they are now, where some of the pieces of the popular culture here are becoming a part of popular culture all over the world. Things like Korean dramas, Korean music, Korean stars, Korean movies are becoming big in different countries. At the same time, this is a country that for a long time was a hermit kingdom, and it still is called the Hermit Kingdom. The culture and the people are getting used to the idea of foreign culture and foreign ideals. American ideals of free speech allow us to talk about the president however we want and really not get arrested. It's our opinion. If we state that it's our opinion, we are allowed to state our opinion and state how we feel and let it go. But some people will not be so keen, and in other countries that's kind of the push and pull. American ideals are not given, but at the same time, South Korea is kind of deemed a partly free country. It's not a fully free country in regards to free speech. And that can be really disconcerting. If you can start to feel, I guess, like you have to be careful of what you say and what you do because you may get, arrested. And it can create a 1984 kind of mindset that the government is watching you, which in general it isn't, and most people don't cause any problems, and people know that it's people's opinions. But it can be very scary as a foreigner to realize that maybe the culture around you is not so willing to embrace you, and it's not so willing to allow you to participate. Whether you're married here, whether you're business starting here, whether you're doing anything here, sometimes it can create not a hostility or animosity, but a just general feeling of uneasiness. I wanted to talk about this actually since before this time, but I wanted to kind of gather some information to let you guys know about this, and hopefully this informs you about something to see that the push and pull, that there's good here in South Korea, but that there's also some things that maybe we feel we need to change, or that we hope would change here in the country to allow more of general types of freedom. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.